All right. Awesome. Eric Vickery with All Star Dental Academy and Dr. Michael Goldberg of Practice Perfect Systems. We are having our monthly fireside chat, as we like to call it. This is the day after the Super Bowl. And we were just texting back and forth about commercials. What was your favorite commercial and how does it stand out? And what do we have to learn from all this? So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So first of all, I think we should call it a aquarium side chat.
It is. All right, here, let me change my view here. Let's
No,
go like that. It's a little better
no,
view.
it's good. I
Yeah.
like it.
There we go. Now you can see the. Uh, let's see, what side are they on? I can't tell. I'm moving the wrong way. There they are.
I see him. I see him.
Yeah. So yeah, the aquarium side chat. Yeah.
So I just need to get this off my chest, first of all. So, there was a brouhaha about two of the commercials before the Super Bowl. Do you know what that was?
I do not. I didn't hear any of this.
What's it called? He's Like Us.
Oh, it's like a Jesus one or something. Yeah. Yeah, we were pretty excited about hearing that they were going to do two of those.
So I was excited.
Yeah.
And I'm a Jew.
I was pretty excited. Yeah. Anticipation.
He is the most famous Jew, So I was reading some of the comments of people who were upset about those commercials. And they were saying how it wasn't a really Jesus-y thing to do, to spend $20 million on ads that, there could have been a better use of the money. It's going to support organizations that are, anti-LGBTQ or pro-anti-abortion. And I'm like, I didn't see anybody upset about the beer and the alcohol commercials, about the M&M commercials, the companies that are promoting things that are causing probably more health problems in our society than anything else. Maybe there was a better use of their money. I mean,
I hear you.
But I happen to have thought that their messaging was great, and I knew they were coming. And there's a whole series of other ones.
I've seen other ones at different times. I've seen them and like, oh, it's got my attention. And I saw the one in the first half. I didn't watch the second half, so I didn't see it. I was at church, so I didn't watch the second half. But it was, isn't it weird how everybody has a different perspective on things, the lens of which you see things through?
Well, and that's what I love about the Super Bowl. So I sit at the Super Bowl with a pad, and first of all, I try to watch as many of the commercials beforehand as possible.
So you know what's coming.
So I have an idea of what's coming. And they don't usually show all of them beforehand. So there are some that are totally surprised.
Secretive, yeah.
But from our clients' perspectives, you have companies looking to reach over 100 million viewers. I don't know what last night's was. It was probably pretty high. At a cost of $7 million per 30-second spot. These companies are probably going to spend money on market research.
It just says well over 100 million people.
Okay. Well, that's 1/3 of the population of the United States. Right? It is the biggest marketing event of the year. So I want to know what the market research showed, because I want to be able to learn what that means toward, for my clients.
For me, as a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I came up with a couple. So I did something really smart, if I must say so myself. So I actually had a contest. So, I have this coffee with the coach program that I have.
Yep.
And the contest was to our Spencer Study Club group. So, about 500 members. And it was, if you can identify a commercial, the trend that it represents that was either started or amplified by the pandemic, you will win a 3-month free membership in the Coffee with the Coach program, valued at over $11,000, because one of my collaborators is a marketing company, and they're actually throwing in 10,000 words of content, free content on a website. So big value. So I've gotten a couple of answers already, and some of them have been spot on. So, and I think we spoke about this before. The pandemic was an amplifier, an accelerator.
Yep. A big boost.
Right. For pre-existing trends. So what I saw last night was there was a lot of promotion for streaming services. So, you have Netflix and Peacock and YouTube. And then the YouTube's thing I hadn't heard about before.
What was that one?
Some kind of football program where you don't need dish TV another
People still have that, I guess, huh?
I guess so. So, and another one called Tubi. I mean, there are too many darn streaming services.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Somebody's going to compile them and package them into one.
Yeah.
What else did I saw? I mean, online shopping.
Yep.
So online shopping, online betting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much.
Yeah.
Talk about complaining about money.
Complaining about Jesus. All right.
DraftKings did a couple commercials, and I'm like, this is cool. But if you look at all the stars they had in those commercials and how much they must have spent, forget about the 20 million spot. Think about how much they're spending to have those people in, to pay them money to be your spokesperson. Oh my gosh. I mean, crazy.
Right. And that's the kind of value that you want to promote over what Jesus is going to promote. Give me a break. I mean, that says a lot about our society. But anyway, so all the online stuff is just an amplification of people's desire for convenience. Buying back their time. Same thing with the food delivery services, right? Uber.
Yep.
Uber was on there.
Shortcuts. And, all the shortcuts.
DoorDash was on there. Exactly. So tapping into that trend, obviously there's a whole bunch of companies spending a lot of money to those 100 million people promoting this convenience.
Yeah.
How does a dental practice tap into that?
a good question.
Okay, I'll answer.
You got this.
So I actually just had a conversation with a company called In Hand Dental. And it's unfortunately, I think, and it's a great product, but they're packaging it wrong. So we were talking about maybe helping them sort of remarket it because
Yeah.
bad messaging. It's a
Okay.
they call it remote monitoring. So that somebody's using Invisalign. It's an app and it can be white labeled. So imagine going into a dental practice and saying, hey, you know what? We want to make your experience as easy, simple, and as convenient as possible. And we want to be your trusted source for everything related to dental. So you know what? We're going to give you an app. You need to contact us. Here's the app. Who else does that? So talk about a unique value proposition.
Wow.
But it's tapping into convenience.
Yeah.
Right? Telehealth, convenience.
Yeah.
I had a conversation this morning with a client. Most of my patients, most of my clients, sometimes they are patients.
Same thing.
Yeah, I know. So most of my clients are have a sleep and TMJ component to their practice.
Yeah.
And one of them was saying about the challenges that she had getting people to be compliant and to monitor them, and the amount of time it was taking for follow-up in the office. And I'm like, hey, do telehealth, even that in-hand product. All that follow-up can be done from the convenience of someone's home, from their car, freeing up a dental chair. People don't realize the cost of space in their office.
The turnaround, the time, the build up, somebody doesn't show up, all of it. We call it reducing friction. The term in business is friction. And Amazon has done an amazing job of creating the perception that there's not that much friction. It used to be, I'm not paying $99 a year for somebody to ship it. I'll just go down the store and buy it. Well, man, times be changing. I'm paying $139. And if that brown truck doesn't show up every day, I'm wondering what's wrong. Because I'm going to get my money's worth. And they've made it so easy. You open my phone, swipe, done, shows up, next day. And dentistry does have something to learn from removing friction, because we have a lot of friction elements. The time it takes to get to the office, the time I got to take off work, the perceived expense cost of it. If I don't have insurance, it's painful. Only these times, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., etc. So how you get rid of the perception that friction exists is exactly what you're talking about. A Zoom, consultation,
Well, it has to be HIPAA compliant.
Yeah. Well, not Zoom, a virtual
Right.
meeting. So how do you make a Zoom HIPAA compliant? You have to do a private invite?
So I don't know if you do. So most of my clients are using a HIPAA compliant telemedicine platform.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's one called Doxy ME. This particular in-hand dental is HIPAA compliant.
In-hand
That's
dental?
in-hand dental.
Yeah.
Okay. Terrible website. I just looked at it. I'm sorry. It's great product. I mean, really good product. Started in the physical therapy space, then went to the orthodontic space. But I think it has use everywhere.
Cool.
Because it reduces friction.
Yeah.
What are people worried about? And I had this conversation just this morning with this team member. people come in, they want a result. They have a need, but they don't necessarily trust. And they don't feel secure and safe. So job number one, develop trust, instill security and safety. Having an app that immediately connects you to an office where they can help you should anything come up is a huge safety valve. So
did you look at the cost of it? What the cost was for them to create their own app and white label it?
So it's based on a number of users,
okay,
and the number of active patients. So I need to discuss that with them, because right now for $299, I think you get 4 users and 100 active patients. So most dentists have lots of active patients. And I want to know how that
how that changes,
interplays.
how that scales.
Yeah, how that scales.
Yeah, keep me in the loop on the emails.
Yeah. So again, it's so typical. I mean, and I hear it from both ends, so because I've consulted for dental corporations. I consulted for Schick Technologies. I consulted for Sirona. I consulted for, for Shine, and Shine One. So I hear it from both ends, and dentists are generally tough sells.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for good reason, because they're also easy marks.
Yeah, you must have money. You're a doctor. Let me take your money and buy my service over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. And dentists need other people's services because they realize when they get out of dental school, they don't know squat about anything other than dentistry.
Yeah, how to run a business. Yeah, it might be a coach for that somewhere.
Well, maybe, you think. So, I start teaching my course at Temple March 7th. So, and I'm revamping the whole course. Because I think there's a need. And I just wrote it 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
This new one. And I'm doing it all over again. Mainly based on the challenges that I'm seeing in the workplace. I mean, the HR challenges.
Burnout's the big topic there.
Burnout's a huge topic. And it all comes down to it's frustration. It's the friction in business, not the friction between the patient and the practice. It's the friction between the doctor and the business.
Run it behind the scenes. Yeah.
I just helped facilitate the hiring of a chief operations officer for a large specialty practice. And I said, so I'm helping on board this person. And I said to the owners, I said, you're facing an issue here because not a single one of your team members have ever heard of a chief operations officer for a dental practice. They have no idea what this person's role is going to be. And like happens in all dental practices, if you don't fill in the blanks, they will, and they'll fill it in ways that are not advantageous to you.
Yeah.
So prior to her coming into the practice, we actually made a PR announcement, a press release. Here's this person's going to be coming in. She's going to be called a chief operations officer.
Okay.
But the role is to make every single person in this office happier. So maybe we should call her a chief happiness
There
officer,
you go. CHO.
CHO, chief happiness officer. And she's supposed to make the owners happy, because you're sort of only as happy as your least happy employee.
You
or
know,
or
that that's
patient.
that's the whole thing of do you dumb it down, or do you go to the highest, right? Do you really strive the highest? And talking about friction behind the scenes, HR, all this stuff. I hear these doctors all the time going, I don't really want to rock the boat with her because I don't want to lose her. And so now I'm not going to push the culture that we want out of fear of losing the weakest team member. Instead of saying, oh, there's potential for me to lose my 5 great team members because they're bored out of their mind and you're not challenging them and growing them and building culture with them. And the happy part of it is a huge part of culture. It's a huge part of making sure that that's happening. You're on purpose about it. So couldn't agree more. So how is this going to play out? What's the
The
practical
CO.
day yeah, what's the practical day to day of making sure everybody's happy and
So here's the onboarding strategy. 2 weeks of pure observation. So I have a resource. It's called the Practice Perfect Systems Toolbox.
okay.
It's a list of all the systems in a dental practice. So she's observing 3 things:
Mm-hmm.
team, systems, and culture. So team, she's going to meet with each individual team member, and her question to them is going to be, how can I help you?
Yep.
And then second question is, what makes you happy? Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
How can we make sure you're happy too? Yeah. How can we help you be happy when you're here? Yeah. Got
Well,
it. So she's doing one-on-ones with them.
one-on-ones,
Yep.
she's going to use my workbook to look through all the systems to see whether or not A, they're there, or B, they're effective, and then
Mm-hmm.
C, whether or not they're being measured,
Yep.
whether there are KPIs
Okay.
being taken.
All right.
And then the culture is the interplay between the team and the systems,
Okay.
right? How
Yep.
many times do we see great systems that aren't being used properly,
Yeah.
right?
All the time.
All the time, right? So, so we do have patience, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. You're caring for them.
Yeah, sometimes too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Now, when you put someone, I want to just wrap a bow on this. One of the years ago, I think we even talked about this. Ken Blanchard's 1 minute manager model. And you're a dentist, so you can't do that because you're super busy with patients and you don't have the ability to manage all of this. What we realized when we got away from that was we lost onboarding, we lost growth opportunities, and we weren't connected with a relationship with our team members. And so we realized we have to get back to these one-on-one meetings, what you're talking about. And twisting arms and begging and pleading, finally got dentists to agree to one 15-minute meeting a month where you do these one-on-ones. Okay, that is the absolute minimum that you need to work on your business, and not just in your business, but work on your business so you're maintaining culture. So we created an agenda for this 15-minute meeting to happen every month. And it's the bare minimum that has to be done. It's the bare minimum. And
so
yeah.
the point is, though, hiring a COO,
Mm-hmm.
it's the COO's job to do
To
that.
do the one-on-ones. When you're a big enough practice, absolutely. Yeah. A 1 in, I don't know, 6, seven team member, team, there's no office manager. We're wanting the doctor to do it. Right. If you can't have the
Right.
doctor do it, then you got to have this person. You got to have this chief operating officer.
So what's your threshold?
That's a good question. it's when the doctor's like, I'm so busy, I can't get to all my people. And I don't know what the threshold is where you add that person. A lot of times the payroll will allow for that person, or the payroll to pay for this person will create more opportunity. I think there's no one size fits all. I think it's a very unique decision. But typically, if you have a multi-doctor practice, you're having to have someone who knows how to manage the people. That doesn't give the doctor the check out to say, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. They've got to manage somebody. It's just not all the people. Yeah. How about you? Do you have a threshold? Do you have like hey, this is the science behind it?
So, oops. So it's not a threshold as much as it is a goal. So I think it's a combination actually of two. So yes, there has to be the financial capacity to hire someone of this caliber, which does not come cheap.
Yeah.
But that also has to be combined with the objective of growth and what that growth looks like. So if the growth is substantial, if my vision is I want to take over this space next door and add 5 more operatories, or I want to get a satellite office, or I want to buy another practice, then already you're talking about stretching the management capacity of the doctors beyond their breaking point. So, I have a slide that I use in my course that shows the doctor as owner, provider, and manager.
Yep.
Those 3 hats.
Yep.
The DSOs have identified the fact that doctors in general do not like to be the managers, and they really don't like the financial responsibilities as being an owner.
Yeah.
What they really want, they want to be a provider. Well, if that's what you want, fine, sell out to a DSO and lose your freedom. If you want to change that dynamic, however, you need to hire people that will enable you to stop managing and to get the right information that allows you as an owner to make the appropriate decisions. Missing link.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And is it right to say that it's a chicken or the egg situation? Because sometimes you need that person, but you can't quite afford them just now. But by hiring them, they will create the freedom to produce more to therefore be able to afford them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to know where you want to go. So if you want to scale up, you do know that if you look at the scaling up graph, it's not a straight line up. You go up, then you have to take a little dip because you need to invest in something, and in this case, human capital, in order to go up. And then you'll be a dip again.
Yep.
And go up.
That's right.
So practices have a hard time to go from $500,000 to $1 million. You need a certain management
monthly that goes from
or hire people like us.
Yeah. So monthly, just for people, 500,000, right? You're at what, 40,000 a month, right? 43,000 a month, 42,000 a month, going to 83,000 a month is that different tier of achievability. And then there's another plateau, 1 to 1.2. I find, how do you get to 1.2 million? What does that look like? And there's a whole nother conversation, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. You got to understand the numbers. If you're not tracking the numbers too, how are you going to know what you can afford, what you can't afford, or what your limitations are?
I think if you had the right management team that would free up, I mean, it's a way for a provider to basically buy back their time.
Yeah.
Right. Reduce the friction.
Yeah. And those practices that are stuck at that number, they're probably not having meetings to even improve the practice to get there because they say, I can't afford to have meetings. This is a big sticking point for me.
So Pat Lencioni has a book, I think it's Death by Meetings. Um, but I agree, at meetings, the right cadence, schedule of meetings, the proper content of the meetings is critical in
Yeah.
growth. I mean, I don't know if I told you the story. So I started a practice in Manhattan after a failed partnership. And I hired a COO because I was already, I had a nice practice. And I said to her, okay, we're changing the system here. In the failed partnership, we had one monthly meeting. That was it. I'm like, okay, we're going to have an hour and a half weekly
Every week.
meeting.
Yep.
So we always had morning huddles. So we had a 20-minute morning huddle. Then we had an hour and a half meeting on Monday. And that's with everybody. And then we had a clinical meeting on Thursday, an hour long. Now, the administrative staff could come to the clinical meeting. And if we were in the process of implementing a new system, we wanted them to come. But my COO said, you can't take that time away from the practice.
Production. That's productive time.
And exactly. And I said, listen, trust me on this. Let's give a 3-month trial and track our production, and let's see what happens. Guess what happened?
What happened?
Production went up.
33%.
Less clinical time.
Yep.
Well, I don't think it was 33%, but
I'm just kidding.
it was at least 15 to 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nuts.
Every time. I see the same thing every time.
We were able to, we implement. So again, I was talking to this company about this in-hand dental, right? And one of the challenges they had was people getting it, not using it. Huh, I've heard that before, huh? So I said, yes, failure to implement is a big deal. Why? Because the dentist is too busy being provider, and implementation requires a manager.
Yeah. Back to those 3 roles that the dentist is trying to play. Yeah. We lost you for a second. Are you back?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it me or is it you?
I'm not sure. You're hitchity.
I moved my location.
Yeah, you're hitchity a little bit today. So, but it's back to those 3 things saying, can you be a dentist, somebody who provides a service, the artist? Can you be the manager? And can you be the entrepreneur? Now, you have 3 different words you use for those, but it's the same concept. And when you have a team that has ownership in all of those categories where they operate in the culture that way, it allows you to be more productive when you're actually seeing patients, when you all know what you're doing. When I'll have teams say, I hate meetings because we come in this magic room, we talk about change and how things are going to be, and then we go back out there and we just do the same thing. What's the point of having team meetings, right? Patrick's book. So, yeah.
So you said artist, entrepreneur,
And manager leader.
Manager leader.
Yeah. So the artist is doing the
Provider,
dentistry.
yeah.
Yeah. Doing the dentistry. Yeah. The manager leader is what we've been talking about today, having that person who can take that on. And the entrepreneur is somebody who knows how to run a business. Yeah, you have to have some business savvy, business mindedness to this. And I think the dentist needs to know all of those things at their core, but then have people they put in place that can help the day-to-day operations of that. Because if any of those people leave, you better know what you're doing.
And that's a big fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the fears that dentists have of letting go of that managerial ownership, is that what if? Because sometimes we catastrophize.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. You think dentists catastrophize more than others?
I don't coach other professions, so it's hard for me to know, but man.
So I just thought of this, and I would say they do, and you know why? Because that's their job with their patients.
Yeah.
Their job was with their patients is to tell them, if you don't do this, something bad is going to happen.
Consequences of this. Yeah.
So catastrophization is in their DNA.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I have a client like this. What do you think about the client who has the vision to grow practices and grow locations and all this, and they want to remove themselves from clinical dentistry and they want to be the COO?
So I have no problem with that. I mean, I see that a great deal. That's one of the allures of dental sleep medicine, is it sort of gets dentists out of away from the drill, away from most things. And most of what is done in dental sleep medicine can be done by auxiliaries, which frees up the doctor to do some more of those, entrepreneurial things. As long as there's a plan that accommodates for the financial aspects of that. It does require a certain personality style.
Yeah.
Most dentists are, in the discs, right? Most dentists are S's and C's. And because of that, their trust in other dentists doing things well is usually not very high.
Yeah, that control part of it. Yeah. And meaning the dentistry, don't do the dentistry for me on my behalf.
That's another issue.
One of the options. Yeah. Yeah. I look at it too. It's like, wow, you have a provider sitting there. That's, an extreme example of going, man, you could produce though. Why,
Well, so I think that's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
With hygienists.
What else would a hygienist be doing?
Oh, are you kidding? I have clients who have their hygienists running the front desk. I've seen dentists take their hygienist. They're not doing dental hygiene anymore. They're doing myofunctional therapy.
I've seen
which is really appealing, but not profitable. So you're taking a provider, a key provider in a general dentist unit, right? We agree. Hygiene is the engine.
Yep.
You're taking away a couple of valves out of that engine.
Yeah. Well,
you're running on two cylinders.
I could see if, wrist issues, they got to retire or whatever, but they want to stay in dentistry. That's totally different. But
that's fine.
Somebody who can see patients.
I mean, patients, look, providers, space and time, right? That's what we have. And we need to make the most out of each one of those.
That's right. Yeah. So let's sum this up today. So Super Bowl got us on a kick.
We went totally off tangent.
We went way out. Friction and COOs. But let's summarize. So if a space invader came to Earth, they would believe that the Super Bowl event was the largest religion that we have, because 1/3 of the people in the United States were watching it. And what can we learn from it? We can learn from it is that we need to make it easy for people to do business with us. Everything we're seeing is, how do we make this more simple? So go to the drawing board, figure out, what do we do to make this simple? How do we remove friction? How do we make it easy for people to come in and hard for them not to come in? That's different for every practice. Virtual, uh, ease of appointment scheduling, these sorts of things. Great customer service on the phone. They love coming in. They have a great experience when they're in, etc. Hugs, from hello to hugs, right? Great call process, case acceptance formula. All these things play a role. And then also, how do you take a team and spread this responsibility out so it's not on one person who's trying to do all three key roles in the practice? Is that a
And
fair
yeah,
summary?
and how to remove friction from the dentist
Yes, from the business
so
side.
that it, right, so that it allows them to be the artist.
That's right. Be the artist. Be the artist. And that's going to take team meetings. That's going to take communication. It's going to take effective communication. That's what it's going to take. So great chat today. I really, really liked it. We covered a lot of ground and we went we went out, but it was good. It was really good.
That's why it's the aquarium chat.
The aquarium chat today. So if you guys want to learn more about this, those of you guys are watching, we have seminars, we have coaching. We both offer coaching. We have seminars. Just reach out to us. We're happy.
You have a big one coming up in May.
Yeah, we got the May event, the Growth Summit. We already have 71 participants. Our ceiling is 100 in that room. So time is running out to fill that up. And if you want to join us, please do. It's May 19th and 20th. That's a Friday, Saturday. We've always got something going on. We're going to do a Maine up in Maine in the fall, where we're going to be all over. So there's plenty of different dates and times to get this information to you. Reach out to either one of us, Dr. Goldberg or myself, and we'd be happy to help you. Yeah.
We're doing one Spencer Study Club live in conjunction with the American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine's annual meeting, which is in Philadelphia, the same weekend that you're going to be in Florida.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be in the city of brotherly love.
Love it.
So May 17th, and I'm actually running a team focused seminar on From Hello to Hugs.
There you go. Perfect. And how long is that seminar?
It's going to be a half day.
Half a day. Nice. All right. Yeah. I mean, I think the reason we meet every month is we're very in line with what we're teaching clients. This stuff works. And no matter who's teaching it to you, get someone to teach it to you. That's the important part. There's enough business to go around, and hopefully you're getting a lot of value out of these meetings as well. So, all right, everyone, thanks again for a great day. And how close was Philadelphia to winning that game, right?
Yeah.
Just, so close. I was really pulling for Philadelphia just for someone new. Yeah.
I was only pulling from them because I figured my colleagues,
the people
and my
in your
students
area
would be
they'd be nicer. They'd be nicer to you. Yeah, I get it. No,
they're nice. No,
they're nice all the time.
Really, you know what? To me, they have no friction with me.
There you go. Love it. Great way to wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right.